Good morning. Welcome to the Java Cafe, Java fam.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Excuse me. Good morning. Good morning. Today is Tuesday, January 6, 2026, and you are in the Java Cafe. A shot of Java today. Technically, today should be a episode of Your Healthy Java. However, due to the holiday and also not having a permanent clinical partner like we used to, I was not able to get a clinician scheduled to be with us today. However, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing because there are some things about which we need to talk, and especially in reference to the events in City Council yesterday. So first and foremost, good morning to everybody. Glad to see you in the room. Let's start off by seeing who is in the Instagram section of the Java Cafe, and that is Ambition of the City. What's up, brother? Good to see you in the room. Sister Leslie, Orange in the, we got all the folks in the city today. Orange in the city, Leslie as well, and also I'm not even going to try that name. An Official J 0756 are in the Instagram section of the Java Cafe, and over on Facebook we have Mama Java in the room this morning. Nicole, good morning to you. Good to see you in the room. Good morning over here on Facebook, Leslie as well. Mama Java is saying again, Happy New Year to everyone. Is this our first show for the new year? Is it? Hold on. Is this our first show for the, I think it is. Okay. So the 31st, we were on. The first we weren't. Second, third. Happy New Year, everybody. Happy New Year, everybody. Happy New Year. We definitely have a lot to talk about. Tashad, I'm about to go into it in a few minutes. Dina, good morning to you. Good to see you in the room. Good morning to Sister Debbie as well. So this is our first show of the year. So again, Happy New Year to everyone. DQ, good morning. Good to see you in the room this morning as well. Jeremy, I think I got that right. Jeremy Register, good morning to you as well. And our yoga teacher, Boost Yoga as well. Good to see you in the room on Instagram. So first and foremost, I want to say congratulations to my friend, Michelle Wu, who was inaugurated yesterday. And I have to make this observation. And I know that I was in a chat with Sister Marla about this on Facebook, that there is a balance between that. There are current issues in the world that we need to address. However, if you remember in 2021, because of what was going on with our interim mayor, I don't believe it was a special election. I don't believe. It wound up landing that City Council basically said that rather than having a long-term interim mayor from November to January, in 21, they decided to inaugurate the mayor in the City Council chamber. And there was, I don't believe there was a celebration, but not that big like they did this past week. And a second term is something to celebrate. And so that happened yesterday. And shout out to all of the city councilors, the new city councilor, Minard Culpepper. I will say that he facilitated. I was surprised that he was the oldest member. I thought it was Braden. He facilitated the first city council meeting that by charter, the oldest person facilitates the first meeting of the new term until a city council president is elected. And I got all the congratulations out. Let me finish the congratulations. So congratulations to the mayor and the city councilors. Also, thank you to Jessica Pierre for the opportunity. Last night, the mayor had a private event at the Copley Library, and I was one of the co-hosts, only 2 content creators technically booked for the event with Sister Amaya as well. And we did the purple carpet for the mayor, and we'll have some of that content dropping soon. Got to see a lot of folks in the room. But the number one conversation, I didn't get as much content as I wanted because I kept getting pulled aside into conversations. I think one of the first things I want to say is one of the most touching moments of the night, and there was a couple of them. A couple of folks came over and I was like, hey, you want to interview? They was like, no, I just want to let you know that I follow you and we watch you, and thank you for your coverage of the city council president and some other coverage as well in the space of politics. But this Latina woman from East Boston came over and really, we had an in-depth conversation. She's more into politics now by watching. And also she got to meet Brian Worrell and told him that you're on my radar because of him. And so the impact is definitely there. And thank you all for your contributions to that. And also, as we get ready to talk about the city council. So let me finish the congratulations. So Sister Amaya, thank you for getting the opportunity to work with you. It was definitely awesome to do that. In addition to thanking the mayor for the opportunity, DJ Real P was the DJ, and I really didn't get to enjoy him because I was interviewing and walking around and talking to people. Who else do I have to thank? Everybody that had any part to do with the gala last night. Thank you, thank you, thank you. In addition to what a lot of the council has said and the mayor and others, thank you to all the city workers that keep our city going, from EMS to police to the secretaries to the janitors to the teachers to, you know, those that work in transitional housing funded by the city of Boston. Thank you for all that you do. All right, let's have this conversation about city council and how that president's vote went. I actually prayed. The 2 things I did this morning that lets me know that this is going to be an interesting episode. One, I put notes so I can stay in a pretty decent flow. I'm actually going to open them up on here so I don't have to keep looking at the phone. The other thing I did was right before I got ready, I prayed. And I said, God, help me to be balanced and also communicate the things that will have the greatest impact around continuing to pull back the veil around what's going on in government, and also to keep us mobilized in being very active in what's going on in government. And so I am going to try to be as balanced as possible, intentional about flow. And so one of the first things that I want to say is that, and I'm going to try to do it in a manner that is most comprehensive. And so Brian Worrell was not elected. The Black man that served as the vice president, if not for 2, at least 1 term. And for many of us, it was an absolute curveball. I texted with someone this morning, and they talked about the curveball of a surprise. And what that surprise was, we all, first of all, Gigi, Gabriela Collada Zapata, had put out a post a few weeks ago and said, I got the votes. And Julia Mejia jumped in and said, I'm running. And Brian Worrell was also vying for that position. In this space, along with people like Chip Greenidge and others, and mainstream media people have wrote about it. We're going to refer to an article in just a few moments about that. We brought attention and pulled back the veil around what goes on around the city council president vote. And one of the things that was on one side, I'm going to try to stay balanced, that was disheartening to me was that, and I appreciate her transparency with the media, but Councilor Brereton said something yesterday, and then she further affirmed it when she told the press what happened. Yesterday, when she gave her speech, she referenced to the fact that 24 hours ago, or this time yesterday, me being the city council president was not even a consideration. That's an indicator. The other thing is that how she put her hat in the ring. And I have not talked to Councilors Durkin and Pepin, and so I'm going to do my best, because Mayor Menino taught us that, you know, when you're hospitable and friendly with folks, if you're going to shoot friendly fire, especially in politics, you attempt to have a heads up sort of conversation. And so what I've been able to gather by what's in the media, also you all seen the dynamics of the city councilors that was on the show. What I've been able to gather, and what Bearden was transparent about, was that Durkin and Pepin pulled up on her and said, hey, we need you to consider the presidency as a compromise candidate. And further in this article, there was some reference to, you know, there was a concern from Durkin and Enrique that, you know, the way the council vote was going, and if I don't put words in their mouth, but it would be a us versus them. And so the reporter further asked if they, the reporter further asked, well, define what you mean by us versus them. And this is where Bearden didn't have the transparency to basically say, and I'll go ahead and say it, Black and or BIPOC versus white on the council. Some philosophical differences and or the compromise. Here's the other side of this. And there is a lot of presumptions. Some are presenting it as absolutes, and I'm going to go into that in a few minutes. That Durkin and Pepin don't have enough to garner a city council presidency with either out the encouragement or at minimal the knowledge of Mayor Wu. However, I've also heard some chatter by someone that knows this space very well that this could have been orchestrated by a sort of a coup within the city council to stop Brian from getting the presidency. 2 points I'll close with that here is on the for good side is that if that compromise was to further avoid further distension and division on the council of Black / BIPOC versus white, there's some leeway there. The other thing is that did they feel that Brian would not compromise? Is that why they pulled Bearden in as a compromise candidate? The other side of compromise, and I'll close here and say it is, if that compromise was for or between the two sides of five, the administration and city council. I'm going to park here for a second, kind of close out that piece. And also now I'm speaking from a political strategist, operative, pundit, politician, elected person's strategy perspective. Number one, if Michelle Wu garnered, moved on, took this from Brian, however you want to frame it. I'm thinking of a real thought and I'll share that. And in real time, I'm getting a thought. If that was the case, let me make you aware that this is not unprecedented. And Mayor Menino did it as well. And I've often talked about the fact that Michelle Wu takes a few pages out of Mayor Menino's playbook. Hear me in what I'm saying. I'm not making a assessment of the principles, for some philosophical as a elected. There's some implications there. Simply from being a politician and the mayor in the city that per charter has the strongest mayoral power probably in most of, if not all of the country. The charter is written in a manner that the mayor has a lot of power. Hence why some of us thought the council, in addition to what they've stepped up doing around the budget, would exercise some power and independence. Again, as the mayor, as Mayor Menino did, who was a white man, and I'm just going to name this. This ain't capping for my friend Michelle. Just hear me blatantly beyond the familiarity dynamics. This is not new. The phone calls, the emails, and whatnot happened, I believe, more previous to this cycle at a more pundit, developer, business owner, those with those big stakeholders. Some of us got a little hamburger, maybe other some short ribs and whatnot, but these folks got big slabs of stakeholders. I believe that with what Councilor Mejia continued to do as she's did in other cycles, and also attention to this vote, I think was unprecedented. And again, just from a political beast, and I've said this before, Carlos Enriquez has said it, Michelle Wu is a political beast. And from that perspective, he's doing what politicians do. If it's set up like this, you stack the council with those that are going to vote for your budget. Some have said hold up hearings for certain committees on certain things that the administration may not be ready to move on right now. All of this, and I'm going to refer to an article in a few minutes that was in the Globe. From that perspective, you got to give her props. Just from politics and Boston Poly, he's killing it. However, the implications of the politics when it comes to governing, which also oversees a lot of our basic city services, how our daily quality of life is lived in this municipality, with a lot of how things happen, there does leave a very nasty taste in a lot of voters' mouths, and specifically Black and brown voters, and specifically Black men. Pam is on this morning and did a wonderful dissertation about Boston is not ready for Black men to lead. Now, trying to be balanced. Black men lead. Brian has been leading. And as men, we got to balance the fact that in a patriarchal society, men, majority of the time, are doing a lot of the leading. We got to give some grace to this woman who is also openly gay. And I got to give her that. However, and let me go back to I've been doing pretty well. I just looked over at my notes and I've covered most of the things. However, I'll take it to the Bible. The Bible says, don't let your good be evilly spoken of. And there's a lot of evil speaking going on right now. What in a lot of offline conversations, I've been made aware that Counselor Bearden is very balanced. Amani, Ed Shoemaker, Amani White from Reclaim Roxbury, Ed Shoemaker from what's the new voting model? Ranked choice voting. Spoke favorably of her. And I'll transition here into a couple of other subtopics. It was reported to me that 3/4 of that room yesterday was there for Brian. I seen people like Richard Taylor, the professor brother that does the reparations work, I believe at UMass, has done some things with Embrace Boston. Brother Shagun came over, was sitting there. I love the optic of the fact that Shagun was sitting right behind Brian, along with Brother Cobb, who is the city messenger, who has been for a while. Let's just celebrate that Black man that's been doing work over on city council for decades. When I was in City Hall, he was there, a part of the central staff. There were a lot of people in that room that can't. Charles Yancey, one of the few Black men that have been the city council president, was there yesterday. With what Durkin and Pepin did, even if it was in a very pure motive, and they said, hey, we're afraid that the division on the council is going to go further if Brian becomes like, nothing about that being revealed have you concerned that it seems disingenuous, even if the motive was pure. And listen, I go through critiques and whatnot. Everybody doesn't like how I say what I say and who I say it to or about or whatever. That's wonderful. And it's made me often be sure that as much as possible, the motive of what you're saying and doing is in the actual execution of the action. One, it helps your mental health with some of the haters. Two, if you stick to the execution of the motive, and if that motive is pure, your execution and the motive is probably going to be more aligned and you'll have greater impact. But it does not dismiss this sentiment that it feels that Durkin and Pepin took this from Brian. The other thing here is, and I won't go too deep with some into the votes. And it was interesting watching the camera angles because unless you spoke, they really didn't show you on camera. But they didn't put the camera on people when they were voting. And I should have had an idea that things were going to switch, because as we were leaving the inauguration, I was talking to one of the counselors and I was like, yo, Brian's about to do this. And they gave me a look like there may be something coming down the pike. And I'm like, so the sentiment of disappointment among a lot of voters, and not just Black and brown, what was reported to me was that room, 3/4 of it being there for Brian, was very diverse. A couple of people told me that as the votes went forward, the air was escaping out the room. I will also say this, that one of the counselors was like, so Ed Flynn nominated Brian. Erin Murphy backed that. And for some people, and this was said to me, that, anything or anybody that is being backed by Ed Flynn and Erin Murphy gives them pause. Typically speaking, I could be on pause too when it comes to the two of them. That justifies a sip. Unless my throat is dry. Let me speed some things up. another balance piece here is that technically we as residents don't have a vote. We don't. But I think, and here's the other point that I have to make in getting back to some of the votes of the counselors. The post that I put up this morning was that my opinion, unsolicited, in my humble opinion, whatever. You have a different one, post it on your page. Don't be on here. You know, folks that usually debate and we engage, that's wonderful. Don't be brand new trying to assert, oppose an opinion all hard and whatnot. My page, you sign in and log on and post that on your page. I don't go on y'all page and oppose and all that other stuff. Let me get back to my notes because I started fussing a little bit. We don't have a vote, but I think in these times of aggressive, blatant Project 2025 racism, I don't think the Black and brown people on the council really understood the weight of minimally the action optics of voting against that Black man. And two, and this article talked about it, that as much as we assert being a progressive city, it just left, it took someone said that not literally, because people would have suffocated, but the air left the room during those votes. And to the counselors that did not, to the Black and brown counselors that did not vote for Brian, y'all got some explaining to do. Yeah, you do. Yes, you do. You do. You have to be accountable to Black and brown people that have a bad perception of that vote. In these times in Boston, with how much I've talked about it, Mayor Michelle Wu got elected. Frank Baker didn't get back on the council. They say if you shenan once, you're going to shenan again. And as much, and I'll be transparent about me, I am, what's up, Brother Chip? I said your name a few minutes ago, and have to give this brother his kudos for what he did around bringing attention and years and the greatest minds. And I've been to a couple of the mayoral when John Barros was running. I went to, he always has them at Flames. Chip, thank you, because you pulled me back a little bit. Even, again, let's err on the side of pure motive. A compromised candidate. Y'all didn't even press the green button to stand up and explain why. Or maybe they, as I said, maybe they really did not understand the assignment and the action optics and how Black and brown Boston would feel that you voted for a white woman in but hear me what I say, things are different. Things are very different. And while people talk about identity politics and all that other stuff, some of our identities are purposely being dumbed down and for some taken away and just removed off of papers as an option and all that other stuff. In these times, Black and brown BIPOC city councilors, I just think, and I will say this, some of them came on here. There are personality group dynamics that take place within that council. Tanya Anderson gave a whole dissertation. She did a live last night too. I shared it. Y'all should go check that out. She has some technical difficulties. And Tanya, if you're watching, I'll text her too. We need to get you set up. I'll send you a list of what you need to get. And all you got to do is boop, and you'll have a wonderful little, what do you call it? Technical audio issues. But she did a live last night as well. We heard from Ryan Worrell. We heard from Counselor Gigi. We heard from Counselor Mejia. We heard from Counselor Santana. We heard from Counselor, was that it? That was all we heard from last week. And then Tanya Anderson. And if you really listened, the group dynamics, personality conflicts, philosophical differences, political differences with how some of us can perceive what we ascertain from the words that were coming out some of their mouths, some of the petty high schoolness. And we all indulge in it. Petty, got to get them back, got to say something. If you're driving down the street, somebody cuts you off, you got to, now I'm being transparent. You got to roll up on them and grill them. We all have our moments of pettiness. And where I got to stay away from is trying to make the square fit in the circle. Because my brain, I'll be real with y'all. I had to really breathe and meditate because I could not rest last night. I did the purple carpet, did all that other stuff, being in the room, and Bearden walked in, Weber walked in. Thank God for Stephanie Everett. Thank God for Julia Mejia, because Julia Mejia called me literally as I was kind of going to. Counselor Weber, can I ask you a question? And the other thing is, and I won't go into the details, but I walked up on a conversation that really gave me pause and was like, really? Are we tit for tatting? Between the two sides. You all have heard me say this before. I talk about the two sides of five: city council and the mayor's office. And when I was with Mayor Menino, we didn't. And again, none of this is new. In my unsolicited, humble opinion, I just believe that because the veil has been getting pulled back a little by little. But I believe the veil was pulled so far back that the voting public, and then when Gigi dropped out, we all but Brian was coordinated. It does teach us something. And in the political world, they tell you you don't claim victory or whatnot until you're absolutely sure. I get it. So let me look back at my points to make sure I covered everything. All right, I got everything covered and only looked at my notes twice. Okay. I was going to say that, if Bearden is smart, she'll give Brian back Ways and Means, but Brian's not interested in Ways and Means right now. What would the next thing we have to do, you all, and I don't know if they've been done yet, if she did it yesterday, we have to find out who's going to be the vice president. Up until last week, Henry Santana was going to be the vice president. I don't know if that's still the case. Speaking of Henry Santana, to the mother's board and my mother and others, I got to see Henry Santana's mother yesterday and hugged her and told her that y'all have been praying for her. She told me to please tell you all thank you. Counselor Enriquez, the Counselor Santana shared his thanks as well. But just wanted to add that light moment that I got to hug Henry Santana's mother yesterday, who was dealing with cancer. And he's talked about it here before, and we've prayed for her. So please continue to keep her in your prayers and keep him in your prayers too. He was I did get to have Henry and I had a very authentic, engaging text exchange, and it ended with, let's go sit down and eat. And I can appreciate that. I kept it real that I was going to share some opinions and things that may not seem as favorable. And do I have to? No, y'all don't come up here with that. Almost said something. Skip me with that. So anyway, Count de Monet. Who's that? How you doing? That's a new name I haven't seen in here. So Michael Cousin, good morning. Let's check some of the comments. I seen Domingo in here. Jesus, Lord Jesus. I don't see any links. So maybe Domingo's acting up because he starts dropping articles from 1920. Oh, Domingo, I love you. Chip said something. Authors in here. Okay, Chip said something. Oh, he just said, "Oh God." Okay. Flames. Yes, he used to do the things at Flames. I saw Anthony Davis Jr. in here. I'm sure this is going to come up tomorrow, but tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. we have the Davis system that's going to speak with us about and listen. They're doing. Oh, I thought that was Alexa. They're doing a whole intensive for campaign managers, strategists, field directors, all that. They got something coming up the end of January. They're going to come and talk to us about it tomorrow. And I'm sure Anthony and Aaron both are going to give us some commentary about what happened with the council and the mayoral as well. So Anthony, brother, good to see you in the room. A few folks have popped in and I haven't said hello. So Michael, I did. Count de Monet, good morning to you as well. Brother Arthur, who was the son of Mother Doubleday, who used to be in here often and posting her wonderful. Arthur, I heard that you're the garden person. We need to talk in March. I have to watch the video of the meeting. Bro, few people texted me this morning and said they finally watched the video and it was just so disappointing. So so here's the next thing. The only thing I didn't cover was next steps. The next thing that we have to pay attention to is the budget, but also who gets what committee assignments, who is over government operations, who's over ways and means, who's over public health, who's over public safety. And we talk about the back door, wheeling and dealing and all of that. Negotiations do happen. And Tanya said something a couple of weeks ago that I'm still processing to a manner that I had to kind of chill because it will push me right out of the space of politics. I don't want to say verbatim, but what I left with was that, James, this is not politics and maybe government is not the place to try to make change. And while I know that change is grassroots, it's organic, it's community driven, policy is made in government. And again, that's the neighbor going upstairs. I don't usually hear doors and stuff when, okay, anyway. The politics conflated with governing is just, it's a lot. And I will say this. I have tried to implement more grace when I'm frustrated with elected officials. I have. Before Java, y'all know there was some lives and some posts that were not too friendly. And from you get more bees with honey than vinegar to its maturity. And getting back to my point here is, I don't like, you can disagree with a movement, an execution, or whatever. But when you get into character assassination and motive, that gets a little interesting. And I try not to do that. Votes and policy are indicators of people's morals and values, especially when you're elected official. That's real. As I said before, we are going to have to hold the Black, the BIPOC people that did not vote for Brian gracefully hospitable. What's the term? Hospitable accountability, similar to what I do with the mayor and a couple of others. Hospitable accountability. Because and they don't owe us. They don't. That was a body that did that vote. They don't owe us any explanation. However, will it die down in 2 years when they all get ready to run for office again? I'm not sure. But there's a ripple from yesterday. There is. From the conversations I got pulled into last night to, just one of the pastors telling, yo, pastors and some people were there for Culpeper, but a lot of people, Yancey. Who else did I say was in the room? One of the elders. Like Tina Sherry. Now, I don't know if there was something on the docket after, because after that vote, YouTube went right off. So anyway, I'm going to wrap up. Let's check a couple of the comments. Most of them look like you all having your own conversations. Thomas Hall, good morning. Good to see you in the room, brother. Good to see you in the room. I just realized I don't have a backdrop up here today. Look who's in the room. The Boston Policy Institute that shares and references to a lot of the content that happens in here. What are they saying? The two big budget dates to watch are February 4th, when Boston Public Schools is required to unveil their fiscal 27 budget, which BPS CFO David Bloom said you should expect to see reduction in FTE, and later said I would anticipate it's going to be at least 300 to 400 positions, primarily teachers and paraprofessionals in schools. And April 8th, that's the one that we pay a lot of attention to. But thank you for the February, when Mayor Wu was required by law to send her fiscal 27 budget to the city council. So Boston Policy Institute, y'all need to reach out. We need to figure something out. And I know y'all got budgets over there with your donations and whatnot. Little right leaning, but thank you for those dates. And I'll be honest, honored to have you guys here in the room. Couple of things there about what I'm just really sitting here like the Policy Institute just commented on Java with Jimmy. So I had this conversation over the weekend. Who was I talking to about this notion that things are going to get worse before they get better? Governor Healy, who I got to hug yesterday, and just to update, because she first thing she's, Jimmy, when am I coming back on the show? Gov, the press office said that rather than holiday, we'll chat with you in a couple of weeks right before the State of the Commonwealth. And so I will have our annual conversation with the governor probably in the next couple of weeks. Policy Institute, do we have a date for the State of the Commonwealth yet? What was I Gary say? Commonwealth, budget. Oh, shoot. See, this is why I don't be messing in the comments. Well, is this going to spark my memory? Oh, I forgot what I was going to say. Thomas Hall said it was disgusting. Spencer, as soon as I can, matter of fact, I gotta hold that in there. As soon as I can get something in Cash App, dude, I owe you like 8 over like 4 years. Hi, brother. Good to see you in the room. What was I getting ready to say a few minutes ago? Somebody put it in the comments or text me, because it was really being a good point. Policy Institute. What they said about first of all, Mr. Bloom, 300 to 400 positions. What kind of range is that? Secondly, what I was saying about Governor, that's how I got off. Governor Healy, Mayor Wu, we in Boston have, and hear me what I say, at some point, some may say that we had a little bit of protection because of the philosophical budgetary blocks and stops that Governor Healy and Mayor Wu and the legislature and the city council have put in place. However, we're on the subject of budgets. ARPA money is gone. And the federal government cutting departments, slashing funds, and not just from the municipality and the state. Colleges that don't sign off on their BS, research entities. What the Policy Institute just named was that the impact of a lot of these budgetary shortfalls due to what's going on in DC, the trickle effect is now going to start being real. Don't forget, this man was just inaugurated technically less than a year ago. All these executive orders and all these illegal things and pulling money and whatnot. The court fight. Shout out to Andrea Campbell, who is on my fault. I owe her email and I have to get her booked. Shout out to her and what all the other attorney generals are doing across the country. But that worse before it gets better, y'all, I think is fastly approaching. And again, I say this often. I don't want to project no doom and gloom and whatnot, but I also don't want to be accused of, Jimmy, you didn't warn us. You didn't say nothing. As we get ready to wrap up, because it's 10:49, we have to, I believe that we have better community resident voter driven outcomes when more of us vote. I get it. Sister Marla also talked about unopposed, and that has an implication. Well, I ain't got to go vote because Michelle's going to win. But I said to Marla that, and I haven't combed through the numbers yet. I can tell you that there are some people that did not vote for Mayor Wu. They wrote in other names, or they skipped the mayor. The blanks will show that in the report out. It behooves us. We have, all politics are local, but we're going to have primaries for Congress. The earliest date I saw was February 3rd in other parts of the country. We got to pay attention to that. When you start hearing about caucuses in your local wards and precincts, Anthony and Aaron shares the information about the campaign manager or strategist or field person or whatever, or candidate, make an investment and take that course. Knowledge is power. And I'll end with this. The knowledge around the process of Boston City Council's president's vote, I believe, was unprecedented in this term. And that gave us power. Did that power translate into what many of us preferred, hoped for, and not for me, I'll speak for me, not just based on I like Brian. I said from the beginning, from the shepherding of one of the most diverse and aggressive budgets when it comes to equity in the city's history. This is the final close. Participate. Get educated. Pay attention. Phone calls need to be, and I haven't done this and I haven't put any actions out in a while. And I text someone this morning and I said, hey, I'm ready to drop X, Y, and Z posts. You want me to do it? And they was like, no. I'm like, okay, fine. Pay attention to the committee assignments. When hearings happen, because of COVID, they do Zooms and they do, what is it? You can email in your statements. I'm going to try to do better. And y'all pray, because I really believe that 2026 is our year for full-time staff, not just one or two, full-time staff for the Java Cafe. So we can be, I want a page on my website about the hearings. I want a page on my website about the ballot questions. Yeah, we can put a link up to the other stuff, but explained in layman's terms. You know what I mean? And a one-stop for your civic engagement and health. Let me just park there for a minute. 3 children have died in Massachusetts due to this interesting flu. We just got over the holidays. We're not going to see the impact of the spread of this thing in the numbers for probably a week or so. Emergency room visits are up. Admissions from emergency room admissions are up all around respiratory diseases. Today was supposed to be your Healthy Java. Here's your Healthy Java segment. Mask your happy tails up if you have a comorbidity, if you're an elder, and keep your children, well, I'm not around children from November 1st until April 15th. Because them little boogers are germ carrying, keep a disease in the house for 3 weeks instead of one. We're going to go. Brother Beefy, you must have just came on. I just just talked about that. Hospitable accountability, like you know, like me. We're friends and hospitable with these folks, and so there's the side conversations, and then there's the public ones. Anyway, Boston Policy Institute. Subscribe to. Y'all not going to get up here, Boston Policy Institute, talking about subscribe. They do have a lot of information, y'all. Some political approach differences, but Beefy, Mr. Content Creator, y'all should have saw Beefy last night. The patent leathers, the tux, the what's the thing? The bow tie, the shades. Yo, Beefy. All right, Beefy. And you all check out More Than Football Sundays at 2 p.m., I believe, on Spark FM. Speaking of Spark FM, it's probably over now, but Brother Carlos, Danielle, and I believe Sister Tony had a conversation with Nick Collins today. I doubt Nick wants to come back on the Java Cafe. Nick doesn't want to come in this space. Uh-oh. I ain't even looked at the comment yet. Hold on. Oh, okay. Not too bad, Curtis. Curtis said it's always been I am white and I say so, never mattered what's on the books. Centauri said Jeremy Little people. Yeah, I don't mess with them in the winter. I have options to come back from snatch. Love you, dude. Miss Teresa, as she said, mask up. If you just don't like people in general, those little people go to the cesspool. Y'all be nice to the babies. I have not been on Instagram. Ari, good to see you in the room, sister. Devin is Lucy. Good to see Brother Devin. I got to grip him up yesterday. Ray Royale, congratulations to Brother Ray, who was just signed to Franchise Entertainment over the holiday weekend. I believe that is Brother D Nice. So congratulations to him. I am Viper. Viper is everywhere. Good to see you in the room. Also, Aisha Fulgham. Good to see you in the room over on Instagram. The Chop Bar pop-up. What y'all got? Chop Bar. The Chop Bar pop-up is over on Instagram as well. Good to see you all in the room. So I was just talking trash to the Boston Policy Institute about them putting their subscribe link in the comments. Here comes Teresa T minus. That's what I call her. Support our impact and more. Miss Teresa, I love you. And I appreciate you. Curtis, the long pause could have been because I didn't know what you was going to type up on here, bro. Oh my Jesus. All right. I really love and appreciate you all. I have to admit that these type of convos are helpful for me because I just because I don't do it does not mean I don't still have the ability to craft them, post, text people. I texted a couple of people yesterday and I wasn't rude or lewd or anything, but just like expressed disappointment. But I appreciate. Charlene is in the room. Good to see you. Says she was going to drop me some cremis off yesterday, but we were busy purple carpeting yesterday. And Charlene, to be honest with you, my ex hit me, and I don't know if he made it wrong but I definitely didn't mess with the cremis during that batch. So we'll figure something out. Ronald Fitz is in the room. Why does that name ring a bell? Happy New Year. Keep up the amazing work in the community. Fitz. Oh, Fit. Fitz from Madison, who does floral stuff. If you all are ever looking for floral arrangements from at worst a funeral, a wedding, Valentine's Day is coming. I don't know if he's going to have a special on roses or give us a Java with Jimmy code. Y'all can get $5 off y'all roses. Brother Fitz, inbox me and hit me up, bro. We would love to support your business. Charlene said it was your ex, I promise. All right, folks, we're going to wrap up. It is 10:59. I'm going to go 2 more minutes. Wait a minute. Union Capital. Are y'all getting y'all? Hi, Aaron. Aaron will be with the. I'm starting to stutter. That means I need to eat. Aaron will be with us tomorrow morning along with Anthony at 10 a.m. Brother Spencer, thank you. I just feel so bad every time I'll sidebar you because I got to compartmentalize stuff per my tax accountant. It's 11 o'clock. We'll give you the weather, Milagro. It's going to snow. We have a snow advisory from 7 p.m. this evening until 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. So, all that snow. Aaron, if you all know, Aaron Davis, Charlene, not Aaron Murphy. Charlene was like, Aaron, I would have Aaron Murphy on here. I would have Ed Flair. I'm actually more engaging with Ed. Even Ed's father, former Mayor Ray Flynn, was in the chamber yesterday. Now, I did have a thought that, was Ed there to well, one, he was there probably for his son. But two, and he was outside yet. Well, oh God, I'm going to get in trouble. I'll just say that all the former mayors were not at the inauguration. And it could be for various reasons. I'm just saying it was an observation. Okay, I'm going to get ready to wrap up. Aaron said, don't confuse me with that lady. Yeah. All right, it's 11:01. Union Capital members, I don't even know if you all are still getting points for watching Java with Jimmy at it's the beginning of the year. Yes, you all probably have started over a new month, so. All right, that's it. It's 11 o'clock. I got to go take care of some business. Boston Statesman, the plug, like to invite you to Sunday's game. I think, is that Brother Cliff? Brother Darren, Kareem, brother, we got quite a few folks all on Instagram. Brother Darren, Sister Kareem, good morning to you. Is that Cliff? Cliff, I don't go nowhere on Sundays. And definitely if it's out to Gillette, I'm probably not welcome out there. All right, I'm getting off of here, y'all. We'll see everybody. Sis, good to see you in the cuz, rather good to see you in the room. And the points start over. It's 11:02, so y'all get an hour and a half. Y'all get 90 minutes today. All right, that's it for me. Don't forget to come back tomorrow at 10 a.m. Aaron and today's Tuesday. Tomorrow is our last episode for this week. Aaron and Anthony are coming on, and then on Thursday, no Java with Jimmy here at 10 a.m. However, at 12:30 p.m., we are excited to have her first exclusive sit down since leaving the mayor's office. Jessica Pierre, the former communications director for Mayor Michelle Wu, will join us on WGBH at the News Cafe at Copley Library on Thursday at 12:30 p.m. here live on Facebook. So please plan to join us on Thursday at 12 p.m. All right, that is it. Oh, speaking of announcements, let me pay a couple of bills here. Don't forget, I believe the survey is still active. You have an opportunity to, we talk about lending voices. You have an opportunity to lend your voice to what's going on in Boston's waterfront. Either if you're watching on TV, scan that QR code, or either go to jwj.info/CRIW, which is the acronym for Coalition for a Resilient and Inclusive Waterfront, survey to make sure that you lend your voice to that. Additionally, you have until the 23rd of this month to go to the Mass Health Connector, go to Connected Care. You guide, we enable your health. Plain and simple as that. So please visit mahealthconnector.org or call 1-877-MA-ENROLL. And if you pay your premium, which I believe are going subsidies, the subsidies for healthcare premiums, I believe, are decreased. So that means your healthcare premiums may be going up, but you need health insurance. So go to Mass Health Connector to get that health insurance that you need. And if you pay by the 23rd, you will be insured by February 1st. All right. That is it, brother. Curtis, good to see you in the room. And Jess, is coming in on Thursday at WGBH, and you'll be able to watch her here. Good morning, Asia. Good to see you in the room. And Pastor Marion, peace. And thank you for sharing that information about the Didi's Cry Men's Group. I'll be sure to post that as well. That is it for me. Tomorrow at 10 a.m., Thursday at 12:30. And then in the next couple of weeks, we'll be getting back into some regular programming. On January 15th, we have a Java After Dark with ABCD Health Services to talk about human trafficking. Don't forget the ABCD has 3 kiosks where you can go get condoms and all the stuff you need to have safer sex. You can get pregnancy tests, you can get HIV tests, you can get STD tests, and it's confidential and it's free. You get the test, you go home, do what you got to do, go back and you return the thing into the kiosk, and then somehow with a number, they figure out how to let you know your results. And then after that, if you need treatment, you can go to ABCD's, one of their affiliate community health centers, and get treatment for your STD. Or even if you have HIV, you can get treatment for that. And if you get pregnant, you can either go somewhere and get prenatal care, or if you so choose, you can get care if you do not want to continue with that pregnancy. So please, that made me tired. Please check that out. Father, Son, Holy, Spiritual, joined over on Instagram, and also Black People Unite, a very popular brand in the city of Boston. Good to see you in the room as well. That's it for me, and we will see you guys tomorrow at 10 a.m. with the Davis System. Have a